Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch. But you won't, because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July to December 2020. Underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
There once was a dad who set out on a great quest to find the perfect Coke flavors at his family's request. So he went into a local store and grabbed the Coke Cherry Vanilla, Coke Cherry, and more. At dinner, they sipped Coke flavors and rejoiced, for everyone made their own delicious choice.
Coca-Cola flavors. Unbelievably delicious.
With so many delicious Coca-Cola flavors and Coca-Cola Zero Sugar flavors options to choose from, you'll have to taste them all. Pick up a 20-ounce bottle from Green Valley Grocery today.
Oh, what's up, everybody? Pretty slow week as far as news goes with the case, right? Not too much to really dig into. The report about Doug Band, that was pretty interesting. We'll touch on that a little bit tonight. Obviously, we'll talk about, the whole case in general. Just with whatever you folks want to talk about is what we'll do. We'll bounce it that way tonight. For me, pretty fantastic weekend, honestly. I really didn't do anything. Talk about being lazy. I was so lazy this weekend. I sat around. I ordered in food a few times. Yesterday was a marathon of fights. That was pretty epic. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Question. Did you get any hiking in this weekend? No hiking this weekend, unfortunately. Usually we go every Sunday, Carrie and I and her friend. But this weekend we didn't go. Her friend is out of town for her birthday or something like that. So Carrie and I took today off, and like I said, we were just being lazy as lazy could be. We ended up going down to this casino close to the house, and we were, bored. So went and threw away a couple of bucks. And me, I'm like, I get so frustrated playing slot machines that I can't wager more than like $20 playing those stupid things. So I put in $20 into this Keno machine, and I'm playing nickels, just messing around, waiting for her as she's playing this game called Moolah or some wild shit. And the thing deals me 6 of 7 for like $100. Quick, right in my pocket. See you later. They ain't catching me up in that game, right? I never win anything on slot machines. So if I could walk out of there with an extra C note, I look at myself like I'm the biggest victor of the month, because I never win. I win like once a year playing slot machines. That seems to be the trend for me. Like towards Christmas, I'll win something, and then for the rest of the year, nada. Hey, what's up, H? How's it going, buddy? Hope you had a good weekend. So it looks like some stimulus checks might be on the way there, folks. That's a good thing, huh? Somebody just asked me a question about that. Yeah, you know how I feel about that. Any money getting injected to the folks is a good thing, in my opinion. So hopefully they get that stimulus money out to everybody real soon. I'm sure everybody could use it. Although there are signs of things getting better, right? Things opening up. One of my best friends is in a band called Otherwise. And, they're signed to a record label and all of that stuff. And they have a show scheduled for April 15th in Wisconsin. So that's definitely a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, right? A festival show, too. So that's definitely going to be pretty rad. H says, I heard your birthday is coming up soon. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to be 41 on March 13th. Although I'm going to try and write to somebody and get that year back, the last year, right? Maybe I could be 40 all over again because of that year that we just wasted. Maybe, who do I write to about that? Anybody have any idea? Rob says, I've been going crazy trying to get my parents vaccinated, so I haven't been able to stay current with the show. I know Jen and Lisa were talking about Oprah's interview with Harry and Negan. I wish it was Negan. That would be sick, Rob, but Megan. Yeah, the funny typo. Yeah, there's, who knows what's going to occur in that interview. As you folks know, the last, 14 or 15 hours or so, I've uploaded a bunch of Prince Andrew flashback episodes, kind of keep the flavor in your mouth a little bit. But as far as the Oprah interview, I really don't know. I don't have my finger on the pulse of Meghan Markle or her guy. I really don't. I'm not too sure like what the content is going to be. You would think that Meghan Markle is a big advocate for women, that she would bring up Prince Andrew, right? I know if it was me, I would. If I was her, I certainly would bring it up and ask, why should I be treated in such a manner and he is not? So I would think that they'll bring it up, but I don't think it'll be a big point during that Oprah interview, Rob. But again, that is certainly not my forte. That is definitely more in Lisa and Jen's wheelhouse. They're the ones that, in my opinion, really have this, the whole thing with Andrew and the royals. They know that stuff inside and out. Like I always say, if we're talking about like royals and the monarchy and stuff, the extent of my knowledge is the old days, the Plantagenet days up through, the Tudors, War of the Roses. And then I pretty much lost interest in the monarchy after that. I'd say probably in like, the 1700s or so is when I started to think it got kind of ridiculous. But before that, I'm a huge fan of history. So, I have a big interest in stuff like, William the Conqueror, William Rufus, people like that. H says, have you hiked here in Utah? Oh, yeah, for sure, H. I'm a big fan of Utah. Southern Utah is one of my favorite places. Zion is pretty much where I broke my teeth as far as really outside entertainment and exploring. The first real trails I ever did, like Angel's Landing, was one of the first serious trails I ever did, and obviously in Zion. So yeah, Utah is one of those close to the heart kind of places for me. Pop says 41, need to start looking for a retirement home. I know, look at all this gray in my beard. And I just like to say that I didn't have any of this before I met Carrie, by the way, all right? So you could blame her for all this gray. I feel like I need a retirement home, though, Pop, all kidding aside sometimes. I mean, geez, getting out of bed's a struggle half the time these days. Rob says, do you watch American Horror Story? Rob, I did watch it for the first few seasons. And then sporadically, I think the last season I watched, like really religiously watched, was the one about the hotel, like the murder hotel or whatever the hell it was called. I think that was the last season that I consistently watched. Yo, what up, DA? I know as a Devil fan, you ain't trying to see that Rangers logo anytime soon after the last few nights. I get it, bro. Understood. H, snowboard. I'm lucky I could walk, H. Never mind snowboarding, bro. Those days are long over for me. I had 2 reconstructive shoulder surgeries, one in 2009 and one in 2015. So there's 0 chance I'm getting on a snowboard. Pop says, been to Moab? I have been to Moab. Pretty much everywhere in Utah, I've spent at least a couple of days. Obviously, I never spend as long as I'd like to spend in a place like that, right? But Moab is a beautiful place. Escalante, the Grand Staircase, every possible nook and cranny you can imagine in the American Southwest. And I've probably crunched some trail in that area. I mean, I'm like obsessed with it. Not so, what's crazy? Ever since I've started the podcast, I haven't been adventuring as much and going out on my ridiculous hikes because I feel like I have to be connected to the news all the time, right? I have to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So even when I go on my little like camping trips, it's not as fulfilling as usual. But hopefully after this trial, I'll be able to, have a little bit of time from August till about, middle of October to get some serious adventuring in. I'm going to try and shoot up to Tahoe after I get back from New York and do a few weeks up in Tahoe doing some camping and exploring and all of that stuff, because I just haven't been doing enough of it lately. And then, of course, obviously, other factors, with the COVID and the lockdowns and, everywhere having different rules and different kinds of quarantine stipulations and whatnot. So it's just been kind of a difficult situation. But the plan is to get it in. Rob says, True Cape Cod Crime. Pretty vicious stuff. Good book about it called In His Garden. Might be a good episode if you're still doing the true crime stuff. Yeah, hey, Rob, thanks, bro. I'm always looking for a good book. I consume books like it's nobody's business. I just love to read audiobooks or actual physical books. So if you guys ever have any recommendations, shoot them to me. And obviously, I'll check them out. I'll throw them on the list and I'll read them and let you know what I think. Because I'm seriously, I go crazy looking for books sometimes. Like, I spend hours sometimes on Reddit going through, the forums looking for different recommendations for books because I'm pretty particular. Oh, that's all right, Rob. I'll take a look for it. I'm sure I could find it somewhere. I'm sure it's, find it on Amazon or something like that. Yeah, the Red Rocks are amazing, right? When my family comes out to Vegas, they're always really blown away by that. My uncle, when the first time he came out and we took him up hiking, he was just, I can't even put into words how blown away he was by it. And it's just, it's like Planet of the Apes, right? Or if you look at the Mars rover, look at those pictures of the rover sending back, and that's what it looks like in Vegas up at Red Rock. So I think I'm good. If anyone needs to go to Mars, I'll volunteer because living in Nevada, it's like 400 degrees all the time anyway. So I'm in, right? Send me up. I'm ready to go to Mars, one-way trip. As long as I get some satellite and I can make some wagers up there too. You think they'll let me do my sports wagering from Mars? You think the Nevada Gaming Commission will give me a little bit of leeway? H says, brother, we got awesome trails here in Salt Lake. Carrie has a lot of friends up in Salt Lake, and we're definitely going to try and get up there at some point. It's just, it's a bit of a trek for us, 8-9 hours all the way up. I try to stay to southern Utah as much as possible because I don't really, 5 or 6 hours is the extent of it for me as far as car rides go, unless I'm doing like a trail van or something. But I try to stay in southern Nevada. But as far as Salt Lake goes, Carrie and I are definitely planning on going up there to visit her friends at some point. Pop says, how was UFC? Oh, UFC was epic, Pop. Some awesome fights. Amanda Nunes is legitimately the greatest woman combat athlete I've ever seen in my life. She literally will beat dudes, no doubt about it. She's bad as hell. The Adesanya fight, pretty entertaining. Not too shocking, honestly, though. I mean, he went up in a weight class and challenged the champ. Big old Polish dude with big-ass hammers. That's what happens. But UFC was awesome. A lot of good entertainment. Got to hang out with my parents over at my parents' house with my dad, my uncle. So always look forward to those kind of moments, right, when I get to spend them with my family, especially considering this year. Everything's really been put into perspective for us, right? Can't take that shit for granted no more. There's a lot of times where I'm like, oh, man, there's a function or a barbecue. I got to get dressed and drive across town. And now I look back on that and I'm like, how ridiculous are you? After you sat in your house for a year, how ridiculous are you for not wanting to go to that barbecue? So, like I said, I plan on doing a lot of shit this year because I feel like all of us have had a wasted year, right? So I feel like I got to make up for that. H says, big and little Cottonwood Canyons. Yeah, it's beautiful country up there. There's no doubt. Lots of solid adventuring to be had up there. So I got a question here sent to me in email, and the question says, what do you think about Doug Band? Well, besides the fact that he's smarmy as hell, he definitely has the dirt, the insider information There is no doubt about that, because when you're the bag man for somebody like Bill Clinton, you're in it, right? You're definitely in it. So did he speak to the SDNY? I don't know for sure. Like I said, I can't really confirm it, independently. But Chris Spargo has a very good track record so far in this case. And if he's reporting that that's so, and I also heard some rumors about that, I would think that it's probably likely, but I can't confirm it 100%. Candace says, did you watch the Meg and Harry interview? Not anything about Andy, but just overall disregard for them. Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I'm not too shocked, honestly, right? People who are expecting like bombshells from interviews like that, or, big gigantic drops, it's always a nothing burger in the end, right? It's the basic complaints. So the so-called elite are mean to people. We know that. We know that they're cliquey. We know that it's like high school. But if they really wanted to drop a bomb, I would have been like, look, you really think I should have my children around this guy who is being credibly accused of sexually assaulting somebody? Sorry, that's what I would have said in the interview. But, these people, they don't, for whatever reason, they don't ever want to go scorched earth, right? They don't ever want to act like Rome after they sacked Carthage. Jane says, do you think there will be any fallout for Prince Andrew from Harry and Meghan Oprah interview tonight? No, I don't think so, Jane. Again, it's good that it's in the news. Anytime Prince Andrew is in the news, it's a good thing, right? From our perspective as far as covering this case. But I don't really think it's going to move the needle here. I don't think it's one of those kind of interviews where I expected it to move the needle. But I do believe that anytime that Prince Andrew's name is being brought up, and he's being brought up in the mainstream, it's a solid situation. So in that regard, okay, great, because, obviously people are going to make the connection. Well, if you're going to go hard against Meghan and Harry, how are you just going to not go after Andrew? How can you quantify that? How can you come to terms with that and look and say, okay, yeah, this is right. They deserve criticism, but Andrew, let's not talk about him at all. It really doesn't make any sense, right? And as you all know, I'm certainly not some kind of protect the royals type. I don't give a damn about Harry or Meghan, to be honest with you. If you want my honest opinion, I have my own problems in my own life and, my own hopes and dreams and aspirations that I'm chasing. I really don't have the time to worry about royal families from England or down the block even, right? So I don't really, I'm not here to advocate or protect Meghan Markle or Harry. They're probably just as elite and scummy as the rest of them. I mean, maybe not to the level of these ones, but I'm sure that none of them are worried about us paying our bills, right? So I try to keep all of that stuff on a back burner. Candace says, can you believe we still don't have a ruling on the NPA? Yeah, I can believe it, Candace. You know how they like to drag their feet? They really like to drag their feet. And who knows what the hell's going on in the 11th right now. I mean, they can use COVID as an excuse. They have a million excuses at their disposal. But if you needed to get your trial extended, or your loved one needed more time to formulate a defense, sorry, we can't do that. Yeah, it's just a typical situation with the justice system. It's a joke. There should be no, what are they waiting for? I mean, what is the holdup? I mean, they have all of the information. They're obviously not accepting any new information, right? Because when that new information broke, they said that they wouldn't accept it. So obviously they have everything they need. It just comes down to what the hell are they doing right now? And I wish I had an answer for that, but I don't. I mean, typical slow walking of the bureaucracy of the American government. And we see it at all levels. Local, state, federal, in the justice system. It's all over the place. And everything is slow. Everything is just a pain in the chops. And it's just the same in the justice system, unfortunately. It just has to be reformed, right? When I talk about reformation of the justice system, I'm talking about full reformation of it. A real look, a real hard look And sometimes hard conversations are going to have to be had, right? This is bad, and it's a bad look for the government, but if we want to fix it, we have to be transparent and move forward and do the right thing. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. They're not interested in making the system better or the system work better for everyone. And Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers aren't interested in that either. They'll use that, right, as the predicate for their defense. Oh, the system's broken. We want a better system. But the fact of the matter is, if they wanted a better system, they'd be going this hard for all of their poor clients. They'd be going this hard for all the poor people. But they're not. They only go this hard when they're getting paid big sums of money. And that alone right there should just show you how screwed up the system is. Patty says, Bobby, I know it's frustrating that Ghislaine is continually submitting charges against the SDNY, yet I say have her bring it in as it just works against her. Makes her look foolish. Oh, I agree, Patty. She's well within her rights. And one thing I have been clear of here, obviously I can't speak for anybody else. I don't speak for anybody else. But me personally, I believe in a fair system. I believe in a fair trial, even for Ghislaine Maxwell. Because if we start picking and choosing who has a fair trial, one day when it's our turn, well, we're going to wish we were all standing around saying, I wish there was a fair trial, even for the worst amongst us. So I want it to be a fair trial, and I want her to be able to put in whatever motions that are allowed to inmates to put in, right? That's how the system works. But at the end of the day, I don't think any of it's going to matter, because all of this stuff is show right now. This is all kabuki, political kabuki. Because when those girls start coming up and testifying during the trial, it's going to be a wrap. How could any juror sit there in the box, look at these girls as they come up, someone like Annie or Virginia or Maria or Courtney, or insert dozens of girls here, and be like, oh no, they're lying. This never happened. It's foolish for anyone to believe that that's going to occur at this trial. And that's why they're fighting tooth and nail and so hard not to go to trial. They don't want to go to trial. They don't. And do you blame them? I wouldn't want to go to trial if I was her either. I'd be going crazy like this too, probably. You know, whatever kind of maneuver my lawyers could come up with. Because if you're going to rely on your innocence, you are absolutely in shark-infested waters. Because she is not innocent. Pop says, Jen, please accept my apology about complaining about your swearing. I was just saying that you drop more F-bombs than Bobby, which is true. But this story deserves F-bombs. You know, in my real life, I drop F-bombs in like every sentence, it seems like. I try not to do it here on the podcast too much because I know that there's a very eclectic audience and some people might be religious, or so, you know, I try to not go too far off the rails with my inner city vernacular, shall we say. But sometimes you're right, Pop. There is no other word to use in this case but dropping an F-bomb, because it's maddening, it's frustrating, it's every word you can possibly imagine and insert. That's exactly what it is. And the way it's been handled after the fact, right? That's what's so galling to me. Like, I could understand when the first...
Hey, it's Megan Trainor for Profile by Sanford. Life's really full these days with rehearsing, performing, writing music, and balancing family. I need a nutrition plan that's easy to follow. I need one-on-one nutrition coaching. With nearly 200,000 members nationwide, Profile is transforming lives with one-on-one nutrition coaching and customized plans. Profile has a plan for me, and Profile has a plan for you. Doctor-developed and science-backed. Find your plan at profileplan.com today.
Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch. But you won't, because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July to December 2020. Underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
First time around, when, you know, the case was first being built, if they missed something and then went back to get it, Okay, I get that's cool. That happens sometimes in cases, right? Investigators miss something. But they had everything lined up. This dude should have been under the prison. This dude should have been under Alcatraz. But somehow he's still running around for 13 hours a day while he's supposed to be in lockup, still molesting girls and abusing girls and flying all over the world, living this jet setter's life. Absolutely ridiculous. Rob says, I wanted to guest host with Bobby, but I don't think I can hold myself together. This case seriously boils my blood. You know, I'm thinking about doing that again. That was fun having Lisa on that time. I mean, Jen on that time. It was a very enjoyable time to have good old Jen on with me and do the co-hosting situation. So maybe I'll do that again sometime. You know, if you guys dig that kind of stuff, shoot me some email and just let me know, like, what sorts of things you guys enjoy, right? So we can incorporate it. Because, you know, we're not going to be here forever, folks. Unfortunately, I was thinking about that today a little bit. You know, the last time we'll all get together, it's going to happen at some point, right? For this podcast anyway. And I was thinking about that earlier today a little bit. And it's going to be bittersweet, right? We've spent a lot of time together talking about this case and getting to know each other and stuff. But as soon as these convictions come flying in and these people are in prison, your boy's moving on to a different topic. Because this is heavy-ass stuff. And I'll tell you what, I'm gonna need a good period of time talking about something else, different news. Probably, you know, we'll stick with the corruption, and, you know, obviously we'll never stop talking about this case, you know, on the whole. But once we get to a point where we have some convictions here, and Maxwell goes to prison, and Brunel, and the Core Four, and Indike and Khan, you know, it's going to be a very enjoyable but bittersweet episode, right? When all winds up. But like I said, I'm still going to be around. I'm going to have other podcasts. You know, we'll still be talking about the news. We'll be talking about, obviously, you all know how I feel about the financial sector. We'll always be talking about that and how it ties into people like Epstein. And, you know, we'll keep it moving. But this topic right here, I mean, it's rough enough talking about it. Imagine how the survivors feel living it. And that's what keeps me, you know, going each of these days when I hop on here and, you know, talk to you guys and we break down the news and stuff like that. If, you know, we can suck it up, right, and deal with this filth for, you know, whatever period of time it takes for there to be these convictions. But those survivors, they've had to deal with this their whole, you know, for however many years now. And it's, at this point, there's no going back, right? There's only moving the ball down the field and punching it in the end zone. And I think that'll happen in July. I really think that Ghislaine Maxwell is definitely going to go to prison. I mean, I truly believe that. That's just my opinion, right? I don't have a crystal ball. And I don't have, you know, some sort of inside track or anything like that by any means. But I truly believe that she's going to go to prison, man. I really do. Yeah, so I got a question here from email. Do I think that Indike and Khan will be removed as executors? Yeah, look, let me rephrase that. I think they should be. Will they be removed? I am not too sure, to be honest with you. We're this deep in, and I'm wondering what we're waiting for, right? We're this far in. They've been the executors for all of this time, and they have not been removed yet. So if they haven't been removed yet, I don't know what it's going to take to get them removed. Rob says, exactly. I see the photos of these slime balls smiling and denying the survivors' truths, and I get amped. I can only imagine how these women feel. Right, exactly, Rob. And it's funny, too, because I don't know how many times I got to say it. Everybody who knows me in real life knows I'm not some kind of advocate. This isn't like, you know, some clarion song for me, or I usually stay in my own lane. But this is something where there's decades of evidence built up, right? There's no gray area here. And if people stay silent about stuff like this, then I don't know what to say. I don't know how you can't be mad about this. I mean, I honestly do not know how, if you even know a little bit about this case, you're not boiling mad and ready to run into these people and treat the whole world like a mosh pit, because I get fired up. I mean, I guess that's just, it's in my character, in my nature to get fired up as well. I totally get that. I'm a bit, I get a bit fired up. We'll just say that. So personally, I get why I get fired up, but I see some people and it's just like, I don't understand how you could deny the facts of the case, right? It's not even like, there's not even an argument at this point about what the facts are. Candace says they should be, but I have my doubts. Yeah, no, 100%, Candace. Like I was just saying, if they haven't been removed by now, why would they be removed? What's the point right now to remove them? Unless, of course, they get charges slapped on them, actual criminal charges. Then how could they possibly be the executors and being facing criminal charges in the case? How does that even add up? Patty says, I can be patient as G-Max goes down, yet I cannot wait to see her attorney and brother sink. Yeah, Ian Maxwell just comes off as like that typical like upper crust, one of those like aristocrat types, right? That thumbs his nose at you, looks down upon you. That's how the whole entire Maxwell clan strikes me. But Ian Maxwell especially just seems like this snooty ass, like, I don't know. Definitely somebody that has the kind of face that just makes me want to vomit, I'll tell you that much. Her whole family is wacky. I mean, just point blank period. They're just, with a father like that, what do you expect, right? They had like a seriously like deranged, real life Logan Roy guy as father. I mean. Logan Roy is a character from the show Succession. Question here from an email about that. And if you don't watch the show Succession, you're missing out. An absolutely fantastic show about this family who has this media empire, and obviously things are not what it seems behind the scenes. All kinds of family arguing and back and forth, and fighting about who's going to be the heir to the empire, and definitely a cool show if you dig political intrigue and court intrigue, I guess you would say. Yeah, I think that we will see that question about Maxwell and her going to prison, and I definitely think that we will see that. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, right? I can't see the future, unfortunately, but from all of the evidence that we have and all of the people that are going to testify against her, I don't see how we couldn't get a conviction there, right? I mean, it's not possible that she does not get convicted, right? I mean, question, if Keith Raniere got charged with RICO, then why hasn't Ghislaine Maxwell? That's the $1 million question right there. That question was from Steve via email. That's the $1 million question right there, Steve. I don't know, buddy. If it was up to me, they'd all be locked in a RICO case right now, and we'd all be watching them squirm like the eels that they are. But we're not at that point, I guess, and or maybe we are behind the scenes, and they have not unleashed those unsealed indictments, which is quite possible. But I'm just wondering when we're going to see that, right? I want to see Indict Khan. I want to see all these money men. I want to see all of them sweat. At the very least, they need to go and answer questions under deposition. Oh, Chad, what's up, buddy? Back from, I'm guessing, a suspension on Facebook. Is that guess correct, sir? Chad says she'll get convicted, the club fed. Yeah, no doubt. Club fed ain't very much fun, though. I'll tell you that much, dude. I have a couple of friends that were at low security facilities like Lompoc, and it wasn't a good time for them, even at low level facilities. Rob says, I don't understand why the US or UK can't compel or force Andrew to talk. The FBI has multiple witnesses, testimony, and the photos. He's been credibly accused. The case, like you said, has evidence and facts. Why aren't they acting on it, and why isn't there more rage? People are more upset about the Gina Carano politics than elite pedos and their enablers get a pass. Makes me legit ill. Yeah, the whole Gina Carano thing's ridiculous, honestly. I think Bill Maher summed that shit up perfectly, so I won't even try and one-up him. You just go listen to what he had to say about it, and I'm not a big fan of Bill Maher by any stretch of the imagination usually, but he's right about that. I mean, we really care about some lady who's running around in a Star Wars helmet playing some actress on TV about what she has to say on the internet? I mean, that's where we are as a society? I don't know. I maybe I'm different. I don't really care what people say, to be honest with you. It's, you know, I think it's ridiculous. Is there any one of us who has never said anything that we're, disgusted that we said? We're all perfect. We all weren't teenagers at one point. I know that I was an absolute maniac. So, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. You know, the whole situation is ridiculous. But at the end of the day, that's Disney's decision, right? They're a private company, and if they don't want to work with Gina Carano, that is certainly their decision. So, but it is gross. ABC especially, right, Rob? I mean, that's who owns Disney. They get rid of Gina Carano, but George Stephanopoulos, he's allowed to still work there. He was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. And then I know people will say, oh, it was just one time. I mean, you really think it was just one time, huh? They only hung out one time, or was it one time that was documented? I'm going to go with door number 2. Chad says, why is the Paris townhome not for sale? Who knows? Or is it? We don't, here's the thing. That's my biggest problem with the executors. There is no transparency with this estate. And the court needs to step in and yank guardianship from the executors. They need to charge the executors as co-conspirators, and they need to let an independent group or person come in and do this. Yeah, ABC, Roblox Network, Rob, 100% Disney. And it's Disney. Disney's pathetic, bro. Disney is absolutely pathetic. They're hypocritical as hell. And, don't get me wrong. We all knew this. This isn't anything new for people who are paying attention. But all of these so-called companies that are woke all of a sudden, I would be very, very cautious of all of these places, all of these companies. Chad says, for real, should all the assets be all on the ledger and there be plans for the liquidation of every single penny of it? Why is it not happening? 100%. Every single asset, I mean down to the very last chess piece, should be sold off. I don't care if they have to have a yard sale out there. Go and get those dudes from Storage War to help you out. Whatever you got to do, but get it liquidated. Yeah, Pop says, LA French Connection, YouTube. I'm guessing that's a YouTube user. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, buddy. Same story, different names, but the Jean-Luc Brunel story is the Paris version of the U.S. Epstein story. Modeling agencies, bankers, politicians, and elites. Well, Jean-Luc Brunel was Jeffrey Epstein's right-hand man. He was the number one groomer and provider from Europe and Eastern Europe. So Jean-Luc Brunel's story overlaps with Jeffrey Epstein's. They're not separate. They're concurrent, and they're running the same circle, and it's the same network. So with Jeffrey Epstein and Jean-Luc Brunel, when you start yanking on threads, you inevitably get tangled up with these two. And don't forget Steve Mnuchin, was involved with the Brunels as well. Patty says, I'm not sure there's hope. The legacy protected these buffoons, and now they're protecting Cuomo and Newsom. We're screwed. Well, Patty, unfortunately, we can't rely on the legacy media, right? The legacy media, it has too much at stake. They have too much at stake, and they're too caught up with this whole entire thing. It's unfortunate, right, that they have decided that it's a sides thing, a tribalistic thing. It's so weird to watch society get ripped at the seams by divisive forces such as these idiots on the news. Just a few short weeks ago, they were all gushing about Cuomo. And now, all of a sudden, it's a different ballgame. Now they're going to ask hard questions? You mean to tell me there was no rumors about this leading up to this? There was no smoke? Give me a break. It's such a joke. Such a joke. The whole situation with Cuomo is a joke. Cuomo he should have to resign right away. He should have to step down. And again, I don't know how much clearer I need to be. These politicians, the ones that are writing these laws, folks, are the same ones using our tax dollars for their hush fund to pay off their sexual assault allegations. Try and wrap your head around that for a minute. We might as well let El Chapo write the drug laws. What's the difference? There is no difference. These people are using your tax dollars, yours, to pay off their sexual assault claims? How in the world is anyone okay with that? How is the legacy media not going hard in the paint on that? Where are all the stories about that? But they have a parasitic relationship with these politicians. All of the staffers, all these other characters. It's an absolute, utter joke. Rob says, look up Victor Salva. He made a movie called Powder for Disney. Before that, he made a horror movie called Clown House. The director raped the little boy in it and filmed it. So gross. Disney has no moral high ground. I believe Salva also did Jeepers Creepers, Rob. I think he also did that movie, Jeepers Creepers. And that's unfortunate because before I knew anything about who Victor Salva was, I actually enjoyed that movie. I thought Jeepers Creepers was a pretty crafty, decent horror flick. But once I found out who that disgusting bastard was, well, there went that movie as well. It's just, I'm disgusted by it all, bro. Honestly, I really am. And just, really, I'm also disgusted by society's reaction to it all. It's disheartening, right? You would think people would be going crazy about this, but instead you still have people trying to divide it and chop it up politically. And that's why I'm so thankful for Dr. Stephen DeLay, him coming on the show and breaking it down the way he did. Patty says, plus Disney is making love to China. Yeah, look, all of these corporations are in bed with China. We know that China produces things very cheap, right? And that is really the crux of it. All of these companies that talk about how woke they are, how they care about brutality in the streets of America or this, that, or the other thing, at the same time are utilizing slave labor or people making literally pennies a week to make their products, but at the same time, they're getting on top of their ivory tower and preaching down to the rest of us. It's a bunch of horse shit, and I won't take part in it. I really won't take part in it. Candace says, Dr. DeLay is the best. Rob says, that dude is awesome. Hope he comes back on soon. Yeah, definitely, Rob. He's a busy dude, right? And when we have something more to discuss in academia, I'm definitely sure that he'll pop back on. But I feel, blessed that Dr. DeLay would take the time to come and talk with us because it really added a lot to the conversation, helped move it forward. And when you have somebody, again, with those kind of credentials, it's kind of hard to say, well, what are you even talking about? How do you know about any of this, right? Well, here you go. This is a guy with all kinds of credentials. Go ahead and try that shtick on him. But I'm very thankful that he would take time out of his busy schedule to do that. Definitely. Candace says he's got great insight. It probably my favorite, all total with the episodes I did with him, roughly 4 hours of this podcast. It's probably my favorite 4 hours as far as learning something, right? I feel like every time him and I have a conversation, I learn something from him. I learn, he's just a smart guy, just a very smart guy. You know what, Rob? I have not asked him. Rob says, did you get to ask him if that Belgian locksmith is still alive? I'm sure Dr. DeLay is listening to the podcast. So, Dr. DeLay, is that Belgian locksmith still alive? Shoot me some emails, sir, and let's talk about that a little bit, and let's scratch Rob's itch. The way he put it all down, though, was just superb. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, right? That whole story. I mean, imagine being that locksmith and the cop saying to you, no, you didn't hear nothing, bro. Nope, don't worry about it. Meanwhile, Buffalo Bill has 3 girls down in the well, and, he's telling them it puts the lotion in the basket or it gets the hose, right? So imagine being that locksmith going home at night. What do you do? Like, I don't know what I don't think I could have left. I probably would have gotten arrested because I would have demanded that we go down there and see what's going on. I mean, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. I can't even imagine being in that kind of situation. But it's obvious that it's not a political thing, right? It's both sides of the aisle. We've seen from the Franklin scandal, people on the right, the Reagan White House. We've seen Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein. We've seen so much of it on both sides of the aisle that I don't know how anyone but the most ardent ideologue can argue that it's a systemic problem. That's exactly what this is, a systemic problem. A problem these people that have attained great wealth and great power believe that all of us are just pieces on a chessboard to be maneuvered however they see fit. And our children, I don't have children, but I say our as in all of us, our children, they're chattel to either be sent to die in needless wars, abused by them, or to be caught up.
At Acuity Insurance, we believe the things you do for your business are heroic, and you deserve someone equally heroic to protect them. We put our all into covering your business so you can focus on the things you love most. That's the power of heart. Acuity Insurance, wholeheartedly for you.
Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch. But you won't, because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July to December 2020, underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
In their modern-day slavery system of debt. And everybody is just letting them get away with it. I try to hammer it home a lot here on the podcast. The transfer of wealth that has occurred during this pandemic from the bottom up is staggering, absolutely staggering. And while these people are busy, buying up more Bitcoin and shooting gas through the roof, most people are trying to figure out how they're going to, get their next meal. So these are all the same people that were offering cover to Epstein, hanging out with Epstein, getting donations from Epstein. It's just so sad, the state of affairs, right? And it only benefits them, doesn't benefit us or society as a whole. How do we ever get anything to happen if everyone's arguing all the time? If your favorite insert politician here feels like he has to be combative with his colleagues in the Senate or in Congress because that's what his constituents demand, then how is anything ever going to get done? I don't, some good debate is always warranted, but constant gridlock forever just because politics, it's counterproductive. It's like punching yourself in the junk, in my opinion. It's just super counterproductive. But whatever. What I hope is that we can find a way that with just this little bit of justice here. Find a way to build on that, right, as a society. All right, well, if we can get Ghislaine Maxwell arrested and we can get all of these scumbags caught for their crimes from years ago, maybe there's a glimmer of hope. Just a glimmer that maybe we can fix the justice system. Rob says, if Dr. DeLay is listening, I would like to know if the psycho school teacher wife that knew the girls were there is still alive too. Definitely, I'll definitely see what Dr. DeLay has to say about that. Anna says, any updates on JLB? Is he still in jail? As far as I know, Anna, he is still in jail, rotting away, eating the French equivalent of bologna. Now, I don't know what the French equivalent of bologna is. I'm sure it's better. They got some pretty fine cuisine in France. But as far as I know, he's still in jail, and he's facing some serious charges, right? He's facing some serious charges, and I would think that with the evidence against him, that he will also have to face justice. But I am certainly no professional about the French justice system. I mean, Anna says, any chance he would be granted bail? Again, Anna, I wish I knew the French justice system more, where I could offer a valid opinion even. I don't even have an opinion on that because I don't know. I would think that he would not be offered bail, especially considering what he is accused of and how aggressive the United States is being with Ghislaine Maxwell. You would think that France would kind of want to, not create any waves here and grant this guy bail. But again, I don't really know the politicians in France. What's going on with that camera? Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. A little bit of a camera glitch. So like I was saying, I don't know all of the ins and outs of the French justice system and all of the different loopholes, right? So I can't really offer a valid opinion even. So I hope that he is kept until his trial. And you would think somebody who is accused of raping children would be kept behind bars, but this day and age, nothing really surprises me, so who the hell really knows? I believe that there was a gentleman that was posted earlier here that has his finger on the situation in France. So, L.A. Connexion or French Connection or something other. Anna says, so glad the U.S. saw how desperate Ghislaine was with offering up her citizenship. She definitely still run, and that made it very obvious. Yeah, I agree. I've always thought she was a flight risk. I thought it was weird that she was in New Hampshire, very close to Montreal in Canada. Very easily she could have just disappeared into Montreal and from there to Europe to wherever the hell she wanted to go. Well, we're all thinking like France or something. We all know that they had a bunch of inns in Eastern Europe. You're telling me there's not some oligarch in Eastern Europe that would take them in for a few bucks on the side? Of course they would. So the citizenship is fine and well, but I know for a fact that France doesn't just acquiesce to those requests, right? France can easily say, no, we're not letting you rescind your citizenship. You have to keep that. So how do we even know that France would get down that way? We don't know. And it's just more posturing from Ghislaine Maxwell, just more posturing from her legal team. And again, like I said earlier tonight, she has no defense as far as a tenable position to defend when it comes to the evidence, right? She is, as far as I'm concerned, and from the evidence I've seen, she certainly looks guilty as sin. Now, she still has to go through trial. Like I said earlier, everybody is entitled to that. But that's as far as it goes. She's not entitled to not be criticized while she's awaiting her trial. She's not entitled to people not going hard on her. She's not entitled to any of that. She's just entitled to a fair trial within the parameters of the law. And her legal team, well, they want you to think that she is being treated worse than any prisoner in the history of the world in any country during any time period. And that's just not the case. It's just not the case. Chad says, she also had enough money to get out of here. That why she chose to stay in the U.S. baffles me. You know, Chad, maybe she just thought she wasn't going to get caught up, bro. Maybe she really thought in her hubris that this show was passing her by. And she had plans to dip at a later date. Again, we don't know. Who the hell knows what she was thinking? All I could say is I am so glad that they caught her in that hidey hole like that. And the whole thing about putting your phone in the chips, I mean, talk about ridiculous. What did you read, a Tom Clancy novel or something and think that was a good idea? I mean, talk about, it's like, you know, in those movies where you see the guy goes to the spy shop and buys the glasses with the little camera in it, and now he thinks he's, Cloak and Dagger. That's some Ghislaine Maxwell type shit. Rob says, I always worry people will think I'm a Q supporter. I am not. But I can't help but think conspiratorially that the feds are purposely not breaking out RICO charges because that would hold the government responsible for actually pressing charges on everyone involved top to bottom, and they just won't. To me, that just makes the Justice Department another group of high-powered enablers. Yeah, I don't have any faith in the Justice Department, right? And that's why I say I think that the case will stop with Indike, Khan, Maxwell, and the Core Four, and Brunel. I don't think it'll go any higher than that. Now, people might get caught up criminally because of the allegations made by Virginia, right? People have to answer for that shit. All those people that were directly named by her for abusing her, every single one of them dudes needs to be brought in. Every last one of them. You got to at the very least sit down and talk with them, right? These are serious allegations. If she's credible enough that you're using her allegations from the deposition to get perjury charges, you obviously believe her as a witness. So let's get all of these dudes brought in. Every single one of them. Bill Richardson, Dubin, Wexner, all of them under oath. Every last one of them. And not by their own accord, right? They need to be served, and it has to be the state demanding it. Because how has that not occurred? How is it that those kind of charges are not answered in severe and harsh fashion? Now, you have to at least do the investigation, right? I mean, you would think. But no, I guess we're not going to see that. I don't know. And you know me, I don't make any promises on this podcast. I don't know, right? I don't have a crystal ball like I always say. I'm not Nostradamus, but these dudes all need to get caught up. Rob says, yes, that was what I meant. If the feds believe Virginia, why aren't they demanding Andrew be charged? Maybe they are. I don't know. Honestly, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and it's frustrating for all of us, right? Me too. And that's why I started the podcast in the beginning, to try and weed through all of this stuff and put the pieces together. And I don't know. I would hope that they are demanding that, and you would think that they would be demanding that, but they're gonna, it was amazing when we even heard them speak about Andrew in public. So the fact that we haven't heard anything else about that does not really shock me, honestly, because I was blown away. Usually the federal government's like, yeah, no comment. That's an ongoing case. No comment whatsoever. Keep it moving. Next question. But they were pretty forthcoming. They came out to the public and said, Andrew needs it. He's the only one they've said that about, right? We have other high-profile people involved here. Why are they so interested to get Andrew in that room if he's just a witness? From where I'm sitting, it's not because he's a witness. They want to set that perjury trap for him. They want to walk him into that perjury trap. And then what they can do is, once they have that perjury, then they can go further, right? Like I like to say, hold 'em charges. That's what they'll do with those perjury charges. Hold 'em charges. Then, once they get them hold 'em charges on you, they have probable cause to light your life on fire. At least when you're a regular citizen, that's what they do. Freeze your assets, freeze your mom's assets, harass your cousins, harass your neighbors, all of that. The government loves to do that shit. but not when it's Andrew. Rob says, I think they saw the BBC interview like the rest of us. Yeah, talk about a shit show, huh? They say a car crash. It's more like the Hindenburg disaster, bro. I mean, think about this for a minute. Imagine being a Prince of England, okay? A Prince of England. And giving such a piss-poor public speaking performance. It's unconscionable. Didn't you go to the best schools? Didn't you have, debate team? I'm just a moron. And I could have done a much better in that interview. But then again, when you don't have the truth on your side, it's hard to weave a web when you're a dumbass, right? When you're the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family, you're not known for thinking on your feet. Right? We're not talking about the dude from A Beautiful Mind here. We're talking about the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family. Legitimately. That's how dumb this dude is. And the Joe Exotic's buddy with the bald head and the messed up grill, that's the public announcer guy. I mean, the public affairs guy that just quit. That's how ridiculous this whole group of people are. I mean, at what point is it a good idea for the royal family to get on the internet and look for internet trolls to help your cause? Who came up with that strategy? Were you microdosing in Oregon? I mean, not that I'm mad at you for having a nice little mushroom adventure, but really? Kylie says, I can't believe he actually thought people would believe his bullshit. I know, I was dumbfounded when I was watching it. Maybe I should do the flashback episodes. I was doing that in real time during that interview. I was updating it in real time. It was like when I first started the podcast or midway through or whatever it was. But I'll do those flashbacks because that was funny stuff. I was having a blast doing that, listening to this idiot. I mean, talk about an absolute boob. I'm talking the biggest of the biggest idiots. Now, I'm certainly not a Rhodes Scholar, folks, all right? But Prince Andrew, if anybody has ever earned a nickname that I have given them, it is certainly the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family. Holy cow, is this guy a moron. Pop says, some are saying that was premeditated trolling of the public, Andrew's defense team. No, here's the thing. Whatever it was, they came out looking like straight doo-doo. I don't know if you can come off looking any worse. At what point do you think it's a good idea to go on to Twitter, of all places? It's the Moist Isley Cantina of the internet, and try and enlist help? Here's an idea. Have Andrew go and speak to the FBI. How about we do that? And we skip all of the other stuff, right? Let's get right to it, the meat and the potatoes. I don't care about your fat fingers. I don't care about bathtubs. I don't care about none of that garbage. Go and speak to the FBI like you said you would, you epic moron. Anna said, yep, the Royals now investigating Meghan possibly bullying, but Andrew's abuse are not worth investigating. Yeah, well, because here's the thing. Anything that helps them save face, if they can, put a little bit of the focus elsewhere and off of the Andrew situation, that's a win for them. Even if it's bad publicity like this, right? They feel like this will blow over eventually. While the Andrew situation, that's a monarchy ruiner, folks. If we were back in the old days, this is the kind of shit where your vassals, they'd raise their banners and they'd come march on your castle, bro. You think you're just going to go around raping people's daughters and shit? I don't care if you're the king or whoever. People must have forgotten their history of the English monarchy and the crown because it was a bloody affair for a very long time. So I don't know where the Royals get off thinking that they could just, run around doing whatever they want. That shit ended with Magna Carta. I agree with you, Rob. F the Windsors, Rob says. I agree. I don't care about the royal family. I know some people that listen to the podcast do, and obviously I'm not trying to offend you or anything like that, but my personal opinion of these people they're gross. They're absolutely, they're gross. The way they conduct themselves, the way they behave, the way they think they can do whatever they want. $80,000 flights to go watch a golf tournament. Here's an idea, bro. Hop on a plane like the rest of us. Go get your privates fondled by the TSA and fly coach or first class or whatever have you. Why are the taxpayers paying for that? Pop says, Meghan interview, big deflect of Andrew. Agreed. Why doesn't Oprah should have Virginia on. How about that? What do you think? Maybe that should happen. Why doesn't Oprah have Virginia come on her show and talk to Virginia about Andrew? Why not? Pretty sure that people would really love to hear what Virginia has to say, right? Where are all of these people that care so much? All of these so-called, warriors for the people with these huge platforms. Where are they? They're not anywhere, bro. They're not anywhere. They're leaving it to you. They've left you holding the bag, all right? All of you out there holding the bag. And nobody's held them accountable. It's fine and well. Have this one on. Have that one on. Have Cardi B on. Have Megan Thee Stallion. But never Virginia. When you guys going to have Annie on? When you guys going to have Courtney on? So it's all talk for these people, right? It's all BS. Rob says, how do we start that? Rob, I wouldn't even know where to start. I'm not an advocate, right? I wish I knew, brother. I wish I knew. Now, Jen and Lisa, on the other hand, I'm sure that they'll know. You know how Jen and Lisa get when they start getting it in. I'm sure that they would know. And look, it's just an idea, right? Every now and then we come up with a good one or two. Why doesn't Virginia get the opportunity to go on to Oprah? Now, I don't even know if Virginia would, right? I have no idea. I'm saying, how about that offer? Don't you think that story's pretty important, especially with the backdrop of the whole Me Too movement, et cetera, et cetera? I think that'd be pretty powerful TV. But what do I know? I will tell you this, though. The fact that Andrew wasn't brought up in that interview, I didn't watch it, but according to you folks, that's pretty pathetic, honestly. Pretty pathetic and kind of limp wrist by Harry and Meghan. Now, I don't, maybe the Harry kid probably, doesn't want to say anything about his family or whatever, I guess. But if I was Meghan, I would have been like, look, I don't want them around my kid. That's all. Pretty simple. I don't want Andrew around my child. And then let the media try and make you out to be the bad guy, right? Go ahead and you try and make me the bad guy now because I don't want my kid around Andrew, who is credibly accused of forcible, rape. Yeah, pass on having my kid around them. Well, we didn't see none of that So who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Who knows what kind of deals were made? I'm pretty sure they probably, whipped up a deal or two. Oh, we have a few, baronies for you over in whatever country that the royals have holdings in. That they'll be for you. Just, don't talk too bad about the family. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But I will say this. If you're given a platform such as being on Oprah and you can dish on somebody like Andrew, you probably should do it. But again, not everybody walks the walk, right? A lot of people want to talk the talk. A lot of people want to talk the talk in this case. Not everybody walks the walk. And it's telling. You can tell which outlets really care and which outlets are just looking to get clicks. So I'm not too sure about, Oprah situations or anything like that, but if any of them really, really cared, then they would show that they cared by having the proper people on their shows. But I don't know about you folks, but I really don't care what some entertainer has to say about it, the overall situation. Right? How about we hear from the actual people on the ground directors of these networks that work with these survivors, have them on. Do some kind of fundraising for them. But I don't know. What do I know, right? I don't. Here I am sitting around in, my hoodie and my hat, running my yap. So hopefully people that actually have the power to enact these kinds of changes, like producers for ABC, producers for shows like Oprah, producers for these bigger shows with a huger audience, you would think that they'd want to bring these stories to their audience, right? To, educate their audiences a bit on what's going on in the world. But we don't see it. Rob says, not to mention Uncle Andrew's bestie, Rob.
Businesses are having to shift strategies to keep meeting the needs of everyone they serve, customers, employees, and citizens. With IBM Watson, you can infuse AI into existing workflows to predict future outcomes, automate decisions and processes, and optimize employees' time for higher value work. For more information on IBM Watson, visit www.ibm.com/Watson.
In her cell, he only invited her into the palace. Epstein was her +1. And not only that, they had a nice little picnic within a stone's throw of the Queen's window. Imagine that, huh? She had full access to Buckingham Palace. Anyone who thinks that Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell weren't super close is not paying attention to this story. They were the upper crust of the upper crust in England. They were definitely running together. And then, coming to New York with Epstein, somebody that could fulfill all of Andrew's proclivities. Oh, this is a dream come true for Andy. Not only that, he has a bunch of girls around. Has a bunch of money. He has a plane. Oh, I could totally exploit him the same way I do all the oil barons and the sheikhs in the Middle East. This is going to be fantastic. Then Andrew, like usual, in his best Joe Exotic manner, absolutely gets steamrolled by these people. He's not smart enough to outmaneuver a guy like some gun runner from Saudi Arabia. He's not going to outmaneuver Jeffrey Epstein. This dude was born as a bumbling fool. And if it wasn't for the blood running through him, right, if he wasn't an elite, so-called elite royal, he'd be probably, I don't even know what the hell the guy would be doing. I don't even know, can he pair socks? I don't know. He's an absolute buffoon. That's one thing I definitely know, is that he is a fool to think that anyone would believe his BS. The whole nonsense of, I'll talk to any authorities that are working on the, whatever, paraphrasing obviously. That whole entire thing was so damning for him after he decided not to speak to the authorities. It's such a damning, blow you out of the water statement if you don't follow through, that nobody with a brain in their head would have ever made that statement. Pop says Frederick Ponton deep dives into the France scene, modeling, JLB, Epstein, financials, government, charities, and photography. That's cool. Sweet. Like I said, I don't know much about the French legal system, but all of that stuff is covered extensively on the podcast on a regular basis. As far as, the financials, they're all intertwined. See, I think a lot of people get okey-doked on the financials, and they think they're going to find what they're looking for in localities. But that's not where the money's going to be found for Epstein and his friends. If you're not going hard in the paint offshore, if you're not in places like Luxembourg, the Cayman Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, these sorts of places, that's where these investigations need to crack off. That's where all of these people are really moving and shaking and making this money disappear. That's where they do the disappearing act, right? Through these shell companies, through these LLCs, and something like the FinCEN files blew all of that up and really put it into focus. Now, who knows where we go from there, right? And as far as Frederick, I think that's great that there's somebody on the ground in France that's doing this. So that's awesome. because I certainly don't know much about the government of France and the legal system of France. Now, the story is the story. It doesn't matter what continent you're on. This story is what it is. It spans continents, and it's the same story. You know, the gist of it, the heart of the story. So when you talk about Jeffrey Epstein, you cannot talk about Jean-Luc Brunel. It's intertwined. It's like peanut butter and jelly. Can't have one without the other. They interlock in this story, and the ties that connect them are huge. So it's awesome that there is somebody over there on the ground in France who's interested in the story, because it's hard enough navigating our legal system in America and the justice system here. There's not enough time in the day for me to try and figure out the French justice system. So, like I always say, the more people who report on this story, the better. The more people who are getting it out there, the better. The more content creators talking about it, the better, because it's an important story. And if we aren't talking about it, right, the content creators and you and, people who have their finger on the pulse, then nobody's going to talk about this. The legacy media certainly isn't going to do it. Pop said, Jeff spent little time in the U.S. the last 4 years. USVI and Europe. Yeah, he liked to be in places where he wasn't registered as a sex offender. Now, how does he even leave the country as a sex offender, right? How is that even possible? He shouldn't even be allowed to leave this country. Why should our filth from America be allowed to go to some other country? Go to Thailand or any of these other countries and be a sick bastard? So I believe if you have any kind of like sex crime charge or whatever, and you're like a registered sex offender, I don't think you should be permitted to travel to other countries. I think that you're a risk. Patty says, Bobby, this is a serious problem for our judicial system, and I want justice for the survivors. I support them 100% and love that Virginia was here on your cast. That said, I am with you because you masterfully meshed the serious with the comic relief. Keep it going. I love that you called G-Max a rapper. Well, it's so ludicrous, and like I've always said to you guys since I started this podcast, I read these articles for the first time when I read them on air. So it's my visceral reaction. This is the same kind of stuff I'd be saying in the backyard to my dad or talking to Carrie or whatever. I'm just out here. This is how insane I think all of this stuff is. I sit out in the backyard or at the table and I'm in shock that this is real life. So I just try to bring that to the podcast. And as far as like my sarcasm and humor, I think that even with a subject like this, we have to try and see the forest through the trees, right? And we have to make sure that we are skillfully filleting them with our words. And that's what I try to do. I try to eviscerate them every single podcast and do to them what they've never had done to them. That's people making them the butt of the joke, people laughing at them. It takes the power from them, right? Why do you think people like Lenin would pass laws that you couldn't even laugh at the dear leader? Because once you steal that power from them and you show everybody that they're not powerful, they're not scary, they're not going to show up at your house. Nobody's showing up. None of that's going to happen. And once you steal that power from them, well, they don't have it anymore. They're not as intimidating. So I feel like whenever we have a chance to lay it on people in power, I think it's a good idea to absolutely roast them and fillet them verbally, right? So that's what I try to add to the podcast as well. A little bit of good old inner city chops breaking. Pop says, apparently victims got passports easily when they need them from the firm. I wouldn't be shocked if Andrew had an administrator in the immigration office that was looking for favors for him, or that Andrew had a hook on. Stuff happens all the time. Look, when times are good, everybody wants to be around the prince, right? When times are good, we all want to be in the entourage and getting some of the love and a little of the shine. That's what all these people want. They all crave it. They crave being part of the show. They crave being part of it all. And they'll go to extraordinary lengths to do that. So I wouldn't be shocked if there was some sort of, someone on the inside that would help them facilitate passports or entry into the country or whatever. I wouldn't be shocked at all. And as we move forward in the case, I wouldn't be shocked to see that stuff come to light in these trials and all of that stuff. So, again, for me, it's not what I know, it's what I can prove. And I try to stay to that format, right? Only what I can prove I try to talk about here on the podcast, at least circumstantially. If I can't prove something, even if I've heard it and I can't confirm it independently, a lot of times I won't even say anything about it. Because I feel like there's enough misdirection and there's enough mud in the water that I certainly don't need to add to that. So for me, I wait for the media to pick up the story, and then that's when I just come on in. Pop says, Bobby, what's your best past dish? Not Carrie, but you. Oh, my best pasta dish. My best pasta dish is definitely without a doubt, just regular old spaghetti and meatballs. I make a mean marinara, my friend. A Sunday marinara with meatballs, some pork. Oh, maron. It is, the whole house erupts in this beautiful scent. You can almost chew through the scent. But you got to let it go all day, right? It's not a couple hour thing. It's a whole situation. Yeah, you get in there, you got to do the prep work. You got to get all of the meats, get that all fried up, browned up. All of that goes into the sauce. Then that sauce sits on low for about 15, 16 hours. Let it all soak in there nice and good, right? And then what you do is get yourself some spaghetti, or you get yourself some penne or whatever have you. Nice and al dente, okay? Al dente. That's my jam right there. The good old Sunday marinara. Oh yeah, angel hair is okay. I'm pretty open to any kind of pasta, to be honest with you. I mean, I literally eat pasta like 6 days a week. It's a side dish with everything for my dinner. It doesn't matter what I'm having. I'm having a ham and cheese sandwich for dinner. Let me get some pasta with that. It's just ingrained in me. I probably have pasta marinara as blood. That's right, Rob. It has to stick off the wall. Exactly. Al dente is the most important part of the pasta. And don't buy the generic pasta either, by the way. Find yourself some good homemade pasta from like an Italian deli, or get yourself a pasta making machine. Don't buy that crap from the store. It's trash. We have this deli called Cugino's that I go to, and the family's from New York originally, and they have everything that I could possibly need for Sunday dinner, and they have the homemade pasta there as well, and it's just fire. It's so good, so good. You know, it's crazy that we're talking about my favorite pasta dish. I haven't made Sunday sauce in like a month. With the coronavirus going on, usually it's an event for Italian folks, right? Every Sunday sauce, get together with the family, everybody shows up, people bring dishes, start eating at about 11 o'clock. The first wave is served. You got your meats and your cheeses and your olives, and depending on what's going on, might have yourself a couple other things. And then 2 o'clock, well, that's the first wave of dinner. That's when the first wave of dinner begins, because as an Italian, you got to have 2 waves, right? Get your fat guy pants going. Go, you eat your first wave at 2, couple plates, go watch football. Probably a nap. Then, up, process repeated. And that was my Sunday, every single Sunday for my whole entire life until this COVID nonsense. So, I can't wait to get back to that for sure. Pop says, dried pasta? Yeah, I don't like to get the dried boxed pasta. I like fresh pasta, Pop. If I can't make it myself, if I'm busy to use the pasta maker, I'll buy it from the Italian deli. I do a lot of my own cooking though, a lot of homemade cooking. Like chicken parmesan is my favorite obviously, but you name it, Carrie and I whip it up around here. She's on a pretty strict diet though. With her, being a personal trainer and all of that stuff, we have 2 different diets at this point. She has eats prepared meals like from this place called Foodie Fit. And so she is on that kind of kick. And me, I eat all kinds of garbage. Yeah, absolutely, Jen. I cook it myself or make it myself. It just depends on how much time I'm dealing with, right? A lot of times I'm busy these days. It's crazy. People don't understand how much time this podcast takes up between trying to get back to all of the emails, preparing for 2 shows a day. Then I got the Sundays. So, probably, all kidding aside, I probably put 4 or 5 hours into the podcast a day. And that's going all the way back to October, right, of 2019. So since I've been doing this podcast, it's like it's consumed me. It's consumed my life. And so I just haven't had like the same kind of drive to get in the kitchen, Jen, as I used to have. And plus, now that Carrie is getting those portioned meals, it makes it a lot easier for me not to go into the kitchen and cook. When Carrie was sick with cancer, I cooked every single night, though, because I wanted to make sure the ingredients going into the food were proper. And I wanted to make sure that she was getting the proper nourishment that she needed while she was sick. So I was super particular about what she was consuming then, right? Because I was in charge, obviously, of all of the food and cooking and making sure that that she was getting the proper sustenance. So I was always in the kitchen then when she was sick. But now I just don't have the time anymore, really. Anna says, and we are super grateful. Oh, you know what, Anna? Me too. Honestly, I couldn't like I was saying earlier, I can't even imagine, the last time we're all going to be together for the Jeffrey Epstein show. It's going to be wild. It's going to be bittersweet as hell. Bittersweet because it's going to suck because, we've all gotten used to talking to each other. You've all gotten used to hearing my stupid voice every day. And when it's done, that means that the arrests have happened and the case is over and it's time to move on a little bit. But I can't wait for that day as well. As much as I don't want it to come and I'll be bummed because we don't, get together every day like this anymore, it means that justice has been served. And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, right? Justice for these survivors and justice for society. Jen says, nods, we make everything from scratch here. No store-bought pasta for us. Absolutely. It's the best way to go. I mean, I'm not trying to eat the processed garbage that they're trying to, shove down my throat. So anytime I can make homemade food, I definitely dive bomb that for sure. And of course, we have a few restaurants that we really like that we order food from once or twice a week. Especially during the pandemic, whenever we're able to financially, we like to help out. Mom and pop shops especially. I'm shopping local a whole month. That's my goal. Shop as local as possible. I just ordered some outdoor gear from a mom and pop shop as opposed to going to like REI or something. So, I believe if we all pitch in a little bit, whatever we can do, and everybody is not capable of carrying the burden. But if we all pitch in a little bit, maybe we can move the needle some. So that's why this month for sure I'm doing nothing but shopping at small businesses if I can. And even like for my birthday, we were thinking about getting a room or something like that somewhere. But I think we're just going to probably get a cabin and rent it from a friend. That way we're helping out a friend. We get to benefit a little bit and we're not giving our money to some shitbag corporation. Because I'm at the point where I'm just tired of giving my money to these people. So if I can find ways to avoid enriching the same people who are screwing me every time I turn around, I'm going to continue to do that. A little more difficult, right? A little more inconvenient when you don't just spend your money wherever, but whatever. I'm so stubborn these days that it's kind of like a game to me. Pop says, not to get too serious, but JLB is probably a low-level player, but like JE he has a few beans to spill. Yeah, I don't think that Jean-Luc Brunel was big as far as infrastructure-wise. I believe he was a lieutenant. Like if we were talking about the mob, he would be a capo regime. He would have a little crew under him working, and their job would be grooming. Just like if you were a capo regime in the Gambino family and you were good at jacking trucks from the airport, well, that's the crew you would be on. That's how you would make your money and how you would kick up. So it's the same when you're looking at it with that analogy with Jean-Luc Brunel. Certainly, Capo was in charge of the whole entire situation of bringing the girls in from Eastern Europe. And when you look at it like that, he is definitely not a big-time influenced player as far as financially or anything like that, but a ground level, make it move kind of guy. Oh, he was right in the mix. Jen says, thousands of girls still, but we don't have access to the info because French. He had his own setup. Yeah, you know how I feel about digging too hard on other countries when my own backyard's a mess here in America and I want to get that cleaned up first. But it's obvious that there are some problems over in France when it comes to age of consent and the abuse that is rampant, obviously, from those in power. And I don't know if it's a societal thing. Obviously, it's been going on there forever. It's always been, people talk about France. It's one of the things they talk about, right? So I don't know if they're going to be able to change anytime soon, but it certainly would be nice for them to get with the rest of the real world, right? And where's the EU? Don't you think the EU should demand that of them? The EU likes to have all these demands all the time. Where's their demands that, people are more stringent about this stuff? So, I don't know. All we can do is continue to follow things, continue to follow the case, and see what comes of it, right? See what comes of it. Rob says, thanks for checking in, Bobby. I've been looking forward to Sundays even more because I haven't been able to keep up with the daily show. Fingers crossed for some big news in the next week. Be well, everyone. Have a good night, all. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. Hey, Rob, thanks for popping in, bro. I hope that you get your parents vaccinated quickly, man. I think it's important that all of the older folks who want to get the vaccine, right? It's a personal choice, in my opinion. It's my health, my body. What I want to do is not your business. But for the people who want to get it, who are in risk groups, I think that they should be moved to the front of the line. So I hope that you facilitate that, or that you got it taken care of, because I think it's important to give you a peace of mind that your parents are, relatively safe, right? So hopefully that works out for you, brother. As for me, I think I'm going to call it a night as well, too. We're at about an hour and a half now, and that seems to be the sweet spot. So, folks, I will be back tomorrow morning, and we'll start all over again. We'll knock it out. We'll pick up on the news. We'll see what's going on. If there's nothing new to talk about tomorrow morning, I'll dig into the stack and we'll pull one of the articles that I have saved, and we'll go that route. But either way, I'll be back tomorrow morning with a brand new episode. Thank you, folks, for popping in. Love the Sundays. And to everybody who is always here and supporting the show, thank you, folks, so much. Until tomorrow, everybody, enjoy your night.
Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch. But you won't, because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July to December 2020. Underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
11 bodies, 10 years, and countless theories. I'm talking about the Long Island serial killer case.
It was just how many bodies were being found in one area. I was shocked.
Follow us, Billy Jensen and Alexis Linkletter, on Unraveled, Long Island Serial Killer. And to follow our investigation even further, don't miss our all-new special Unraveled, the Long Island Serial Killer. Streaming now, exclusively on Discovery Plus.